Thanks everyone for joining me on this presentation again for the long-awaited fifth installment of the Edson Sustainability Series. We're going to be going into a bit more of practical presentation that is a bit different from the previous ones. So we're going to be going into some energy saving tips for at home and in the office. Going to be pretty straightforward. So I want to start with a little breakdown of where energy is used in Canadian homes and by extension in the office as well, and then just jump right into some energy saving tips and strategies. Most of these are going to be geared towards in the home because that's where most of us spend most of our time. But there can be a few things in here that are applicable to in the office as well, and I'll highlight those too. So just jumping right into it. Here's a typical breakdown of energy consumption in a Canadian home. So knowing where your energy is used is really important for finding areas where you can reduce consumption, reduce your emissions, and save on utility costs. So unsurprisingly, space heating is the primary driver of energy consumption in Canadian homes. I think we all know that given the cold weather we've experienced in the last week and that cold snap in December as well. We're also very high water users, specifically hot water. So that makes up the second highest consumption piece in a Canadian home. And the rest is split up between appliances like your fridge, TVs, etc., and then lighting and space cooling because we still do experience hot weather. So for going through some energy saving tips here, we're going to go from the highest energy users to the lowest energy users and just go through some simple things that we can do to reduce our consumption, reduce our costs, and ultimately reduce our environmental impact. Going into heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, the most important thing is what I want to stress is just make yourself comfortable. I don't want to reinforce that energy saving is about sitting in the cold or experiencing heat during the summer. The purpose of an HVAC system is to make yourself comfortable, whether you're at home or in the office. So if you're cold, turn the heat up. If you're too hot, turn it down. There's plenty of ways you can save energy while still making yourself comfortable in your own space. One of the primary ones that I recommend is through programmable thermostats and using your heating and cooling systems efficiently. So focusing on how you use it can almost be as important as what kind of equipment you have. So one of the biggest ways is doing what's called a night setback or just a setback in general, which means reducing the temperature in your space when you're not occupying it. So either when you're away at work during the day and the house is empty or overnight when everyone's sleeping. So about a 1 degree setback over an 8-hour period can save you about 2% on your heating bill. So going back about 4%, going back about 4 degrees Celsius can save you upwards about 8 to 10%, which is quite significant. And that at the minimum can save you at least about $100 a year on your utility bills from that simple change if you have a programmable thermostat. To show how this kind of works in some buildings that we've been working in with the town, we did this sort of thing in December of 2021 at the library, as shown by the red arrow on this energy model that I built. So the blue line is predicted natural gas consumption and the green line is actual consumption. So we set a schedule which took the temperature back about 4 degrees during unoccupied hours. And we ended up seeing about a 6 to 25% decrease in natural gas consumption for the months that we've implemented this change, which is a very significant savings over the course of a year. And we're still continuing to see those savings. The next piece with heating and ventilation, which I think is very important for not only energy consumption, but for long-term longevity of your system, is maintenance for your furnace and air conditioning units. So how you maintain your equipment has a huge effect on its consumption and lifespan. So the simplest things you can do is regular filter changes and cleaning of your furnace and AC units annually. So specifically, that's looking at your exterior units for your air conditioning, as well as your furnace on inside your house. So with regular cleaning and regular maintenance, you can see about a 5 to 10% reduction in electricity consumption from air conditioning, and about a 3 to 5% reduction in energy use from your furnace when you do that sort of work. I've put together a list of useful links and information in the public drive in a specific folder that I'll share with everyone after this presentation. So you can look at what's potentially needed for your system and if there's something you can do yourself. It typically costs about $100 from a professional to get this work done. However, a lot of this stuff is simple enough you can do yourself. The simplest thing, as I mentioned earlier, is filter changes. This is ultimately like the simplest thing you can do to reduce your energy consumption in your system and prolong the life of your furnace and air conditioning unit. When your filters become clogged, your systems have to run longer, they have to run harder, so there's more wear and tear and more energy consumption from that. So it's recommended that at the minimum, filters be changed every 3 months. And if we're in a season where there's more dusty air outside in spring or fall, or it's midsummer and there's heavy forest fires in the area, or we're getting lots of smoke, that might have to be increased to maybe every month or every 2 months. But keeping on top of that will make sure that your system is running efficiently and running very smoothly. Tying into your heating and ventilation system is your building envelope. This is a very important system for maintaining your thermal comfort and energy efficiency of your home. So, and by building envelope, I'm specifically talking about your walls, windows, roof, etc., and things like that. So there's a lot of more expensive things you can do, like adding exterior insulation or increasing insulation in your attic. I want to focus mostly on low-cost things that you can do that increase your comfort, reduce your energy bills, and that sort of thing. And the biggest thing is air sealing. So in a typical building, about 25% of your energy use will be lost just to fighting air infiltration through your walls, windows, doors, and roof. And this can lead to lower occupancy comfort and cold spots and drafts in your space. So what I'm specifically referring to is air infiltration around your windows, doors, etc. So here's an example of some significant air infiltration that we found in the library when we were doing work there. Around the windows, there was very strong drafts and breezes coming through it, as can be seen in the thermal image on the right, with the cold spot around the frame of the window. So we've since gone in and fully sealed around the windows to reduce these cold spots and seen a significant reduction in energy use because of that. Another important place to look at in your home is around your doors, where the weather stripping has potentially become damaged or failed or is non-existent at all, which can be seen a lot in older homes. This is an extreme example where the door sweep at the bottom was very damaged. So you're seeing a significant amount of air come through and creating a lot of cold spots and a lot of drafts. So adding additional weather stripping or caulking around your windows can significantly reduce your energy consumption. And these are relatively inexpensive and have a good payback period and can see some immediate results from them. So with weather stripping, replacing older damaged weather stripping around your doors can save you about $70 per year per door. And this is at a cost of between $30 to $50 per kit for weather stripping. So that's really good return on investment. And as well as caulking with silicone or any sort of weather resistant sealant around your windows is a very inexpensive thing you can do that will improve the comfort in your space and reduce your consumption. So moving on to the second highest consumer in Canadian homes, which is domestic hot water. Canadians, we're typically high water users, and there's a lot of ways that we can reduce our energy consumption related to our hot water. So one of the simplest things you can do is lower the set point on your hot water heater to what is needed. I typically spec out 54 degrees Celsius because it's a nice balance between energy consumption as well as occupancy comfort for hot water. Should be worth noting that Health Canada recommends 49 degrees Celsius or higher just to prevent bacteria growth in your system. If you are someone who likes scalding showers, which, I mean, that's me, one thing you can do to reduce your energy consumption while still maintaining that hot temperature is potentially go with a low flow shower head or a low flow faucet. This will reduce the amount of hot water that you do use, which will ultimately reduce the amount of hot water that needs to be heated to make up for what you consume. So there's a nice balance there you can find. And a really simple thing that I highly recommend is insulating the hot and cold water lines above your hot water tank. So specifically about 6 feet of insulation on the hot water side and about 3 feet on the cold side. So in the next 2 slides, I'll show how that can play out and potentially save you some money in the long run. So here's a hot water heater in a building that I'm working in right now. It has uninsulated lines on the hot side and the cold side. So the hot side is on the left and the cold side is on the right. So the hot side is as you would expect. There's a lot of heat loss that comes through that, but on the cold side there is the same sort of heat loss as well, because in just standby mode, heat is trying to find any way it can to escape the space. So it'll go out both sides of it. To compare that to a hot water heater that has insulation on both the hot and cold side, we can see in the thermal image that there is even temperatures on both sides. So the insulation is doing its job and preventing that standby energy loss. This is a really affordable thing that can be done to reduce your energy consumption. It would cost about $5 to $10 of insulation and maybe about 30 minutes to do the work to fully install it. But it would save about $40 per year in energy costs from that sort of change. So has a really good payback and a really good return on investment. So moving to appliances, there's a lot of things you can do with this, but I just want to focus on two smaller things that have some just simple changes that could be made and they're really straightforward. So first of all, it's adjusting the temperature in your fridge and freezer is a simple thing that can be done to reduce a small amount of energy consumption. So Health Canada recommends about 4 degrees Celsius for your fridge and about minus 18 degrees Celsius for your freezer. There may be circumstances where that's different, and that's perfectly okay. But that's just what Health Canada recommends, and it's a nice balance between efficiency and food safety with maintaining a level of hygiene. Another one that's applicable mostly to us in the office is changing the sleep settings on your monitors or turning your screens off overnight or during non-business hours. One monitor left on overnight and over the weekends consumes about 850 kilowatt hours of electricity and costs about $75 per year. To put that in sort of a climatic context, two monitors that are turned off during non-business hours and over the weekends can reduce emissions by about 1 ton per year. So it's a really simple change that can have a really large impact overall on our climatic performance and on our energy consumption overall. And with appliances, we ultimately do need to replace them at some point. And there's fortunately some really good programs through National Resources Canada, so specifically the EnerGuide and Energy Star labeling. What these do is allow you to compare energy consumption for new fridges, freezers, washers, dryers, dishwashers, and many other products to make sure that you can see what is the most affordable and efficient ones on the market. And Energy Star and EnerGuide standards are getting more strict every year, so energy performance is improving, which is really nice as electricity prices go up, energy prices go up, and it allows you when you're getting new appliances to make much more informed decisions. The final piece that I want to touch on is one that's kind of been touched on by many other energy managers and any other tips before, which is LED lighting. It's the most straightforward and kind of cost-effective way to reduce your energy consumption. They have longer lifespans and much lower cost of operation than other types of lighting. And the technology has come so far that there's typically an LED for any application that you want to do. So they don't have to be just this stale blue light sort of thing or really white light. You can get nice architectural lighting that can work to any situation and any mood you want to put in your home. So I know this was kind of a short one in comparison to other presentations that I've gone through, but there's a lot of simple things that you can do for energy consumption in your home and in the office, and this just scratches the surface of it. And as I mentioned before, I've put together some information in the public drive that I'll send out to everyone after this with some more tips, some more information, and some useful links to more information related to maintaining your air conditioning, furnace, and that sort of thing that hopefully will help someone if they want to reduce their energy consumption and utility costs. With all of this stuff, it doesn't have to be done perfectly. A large amount of people doing things imperfectly can have an amazing result, and I hope some of this does help people. So thank you guys.